It's green for go. They're racing.
He says go.
He says ta-da.
And Tiger Tara roars away from them on the home turn.
Here comes another big boil over.
Equine athleticism at its best. The king is in the castle once more.
This is in one race. The rest are almost in another postcode.
She is a star with a capital S.
It's going to be a triple treat, a miracle three-peat. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed history here at Menangle. What about that?
It's getting right up on the sprint lane and it's going to bolt in.
Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of the Sprint Lane podcast. Paul Cochran with you. It feels like I'm back with long lost friends. G'day, Jess. G'day, Freddie.
Hey,
G'day,
Paul. Hey, Fred.
Jess.
What have I missed?
Oh, plenty.
A lot.
So it's 2 weeks since we've had a podcast. I've been halfway around the world in that time, and that's why we didn't have a show last week. I had the greatest time on the planet, but I'm sure it didn't compare to what's been going on here.
Yeah, plenty of action here in the state of New South Wales. Of course, we saw the TAB Regional Championships, region finals won, and they just continue to deliver year in, year out, don't they?
Been an amazing concept, and we've talked about it before, born through necessity when COVID hit and we had to go to regionalised racing, basically to keep the racing industries afloat, and we had regionalised racing in harness racing. I know the architects behind that, the board and John Dummersey and the executive, they were, it was crucial to keep racing going so that people in the industry maintained a livelihood through, at the time, such an uncertain era in our lives. I mean, I'd never expected we'd ever go through anything like COVID. Yeah. I'm sure Jess, being much younger than me, you wouldn't have ever foreseen anything like it. And yet, through that, that issue or that situation, we've now got this amazing concept of regional TAB regional finals. And they just deliver every year since the first one in 2020, Paul.
Yeah, I'm on record. Having worked in and around a lot of sports, in this country, and having the privilege of reporting on them and standing on the doorstep of some big moments, I legitimately think this is one of the true success stories in Australian sport over the past decade, and certainly as an outcome out of the horrific stuff that society went through with COVID. I think this is one of the legitimate success stories. If anything slightly decent could have come out of it, this is it.
It was scary at the time. It was scary at the time. We didn't know what to expect. This generation, some older generations might have been through some tough times, with viruses and illnesses back in the dark old days. But for my generation and younger, it was like, what the hell is this COVID thing? And out of it all, we get regionalised racing. I remember I spent 8 months, I think it was, in a studio calling. It was the most horrible 8 months of my career because there was no, you just didn't have, it was so clinical and it was so sanitised. I was sitting in a little dark room watching a screen not much bigger than an iPad, really, calling the races, and it was horrible. And I couldn't wait to get back, and you engage with people. It's just those little things, talking to people at the track, seeing people at the track. I missed that dreadfully, and thank goodness regionalised racing. Some great successes in that first year. Jack Callaghan, from memory, he won his first Group 1, and we saw what happened with Terry Rama, and so it goes. That first year was special, but, it just keeps delivering.
Well, look, I am coming into this having, like I said, got off a plane, sitting on a plane for 15 hours overnight, landed yesterday morning. I have swatted up a bit on what's been going on. I couldn't leave this place alone. I'm sitting there at some great places in the States, and I'm still keeping an eye and happy for our drivers and trainers and, people involved in the industry. You, Freddie, and we'll get into that. You had a win during the week as well with your Glamour horse. So, and Jess, you had a good, I've given you a week off. Huh?
Yeah, I've had a good week.
I haven't been that host that cracks the whip on you and makes sure that you keep in touch. You had a good week.
Yeah, had a good week.
She had a great week. Her footy team won.
Yeah, it's always a good week when Parramatta win.
Apart from a few blisters on the feet.
Yeah.
We've heard a bit about that this morning.
Oh, jeez. I can't believe she's still standing.
Yep. And you had a good week, Fred?
I had a great week. I got to be at Bathurst for the regional finals, so a bit of a road trip for me up there. And then, culminating for me, personally, Saturday night, seeing Heaven on High. Salute. Yep.
Absolutely. All right, well, speaking of regional finals, hey, Isobel Ross won it. G'day, Izzy, you're on the line with us.
Hey guys, how are you?
G'day, Isobel.
Hey.
Probably
Yes.
not as well as you after that big performance on Wednesday night there at Bathurst that Freddie just said he had the privilege of call. What a performance. Like I as I said, I've been keeping an eye on what's been going on from afar, and I thought that was sensational from you. It was I know you've had some good drives over the years. This one was certainly up in the headlights a bit more given the notoriety of the race. But gee, I thought you really did a good job on that.
Thank you. Yeah, it was very exciting. It was probably a career highlight for me. It was just such a buzz, like after the race, being at the presentation and with everyone there.
I thought it was by far and away the drive of the night. I thought it was your best drive in your career, Izzy, but it was a case of you had to make a decision. You put the horse in a good spot, but then you had to make a decision to make your move. And it was a case of if you didn't go when you did, you probably would have missed any hope. You had to take the odds to it. I thought that in itself showed an act of a driver far beyond your years. I thought you handled the situation so well. So you should take a bow and pat yourself on the back for that. The horse did the rest up the straight. It was a brave win.
Yeah, thank you, Freddie. It was sort of a scary 30 seconds for me, I won't lie. I did toss up whether to stay in or to come out in front of Anthony, and I can just recall Amanda saying a couple of weeks leading up before these heats that, she thought this fella could win this race, and she set him, and I knew I had the horse underneath me, so I took that risk, and he was strong, so it was good.
What'd she give you the drive then for if she thought it could win, Izzy? Why didn't she take it herself?
Yeah, just keeping
She's not
me
that
happy,
selfish
I suppose.
trainer.
No.
Isn't it funny, like those little conversations, you can recall that a few weeks ago, and no doubt there would have been just some little intel that I reckon would have applied at a key moment in that race, Izzy, that no doubt, was a pivotal moment in the race, and it could be those little side conversations that you guys are having on the, in the training barn on the great property there that the Turnbull family have got that might have just been the difference.
Yeah, Amanda and I, we've worked together for a long time now, and it's never really been a worker-boss sort of scenario. She's always made me feel a part of the team, sort of with my intake, her intake. We toss things up between us. It's sort of just a big friendship, really, and she's always got her horses spot on and takes such good care of them and just loves them. So, she had him right, and that was the main thing.
It's brilliant. Jess, we should mention the horse's name, shouldn't we? It's I am the captain, as we said, for Amanda Turnbull. Now, Amanda had the Quinella in this race. $126 shot. Alta Billy was the runner-up. Jack Callaghan took the drive there. A pretty good night for the AT stable.
Yeah, it was funny. I always actually drive Billy in track work. Amanda does all the work with I am the captain, and when I'd seen the semaphore board, I didn't realise he'd run second at the time. He won the heat and went so good, so it wasn't too much of a surprise to us. We thought all three of ours were going into it fit and ready.
You hit the lead around the final bend and he kept striding away. What were your thoughts when you did hit the lead when you did? Were you thinking, I can win this?
I was, Jess. He went up there so strong when I pulled him out. He was still on the bit, and I pulled the plugs at the top of the straight, and he gave me such a good kick, and I sort of said, I sort of can't hear anything coming, and I thought we were home then.
What's been the feedback on racing time? We've seen racing time do some good things, particularly around some of the regional racing over the past few months. Was Amanda disappointed in how that played out, or?
Yeah, look, we were a little bit disappointed in him. I'm not sure where she'll set him for next, and as long as he pulled up happy the next day, he was bright. We'll just go from there really with him. He's such a nice horse. Obviously something wasn't right on the night, and we'll have to just try and work that out.
The great thing with this concept is you kind of get a grand final and then another grand final a week later. How excited are you about the opportunity now to come to the state final here at Menangle, and you'll have one of the leading fancies in the race going into it, a really live chance. How excited are you about this Saturday night with the state final?
Yeah, I actually forgot that the winner and the second place go through till Freddie come and seen me in the barn and said how exciting it'll be next Saturday night, and I sort of was a bit confused until Amanda said, we're off to Menangle. I completely forgot about it, but I'm very excited that I get to drive him, and I looked at the draw just briefly when the fields come out last night. It's 7. I'm actually pretty happy with it. All the other heat winners are drawn inside me with plenty of gate speed, so hopefully they'll just go crazy and we just sit back and laugh.
You'll come out of 6, Isobel. Have you got any? Have you had a chance to look at the form and sort out what you might do? Obviously, the horse has a little bit of speed in the early part, and I guess looking for a sit will be the go.
Yeah, look, to be completely honest with you, I haven't sort of looked too much at the field. I'm up in Queensland with a couple at the moment, and I just saw the draw and saw where we were, and but yeah, I was happy enough with it, Fred.
Okay, and old Luke, your old mate, old Luke. I know we're getting away from the regionals. How did old Luke pull up? He was beaten about 4 lengths in the fast class race.
Yeah, he's pulled up good, Fred. He's actually up here in Queensland with me. He'll go around today in the last at Albion.
Mm-hmm.
A
fair chance. Fair chance.
Yeah, I think he'll measure up good here. You know, he's happy. It's sunny. It's nice and warm compared to where he was yesterday in Bathurst.
Are you sure you're not talking about yourself enjoying the warm weather, being back in Queensland?
Yeah, I won't lie. It was -4 in Bathurst this morning, and I woke up and it's 20 degrees and sunny. So.
Hey, Izzy, I know you said you haven't poured a great deal of time into what you're coming up against with the state final, but who do you think's the horse to beat?
Oh, look, definitely Ellen Bartley's runner, and you know, I was really amazed with James Rattray's horse. You know, that's the last half, and they're both drawn inside me. But I think they'll both sort of want to lead. But they did impress me the most, those two horses.
Okay. Hey, when we were on the show, a couple of weeks ago, we had Justin Reynolds on. He'd won the race in the snow. You just missed that race, didn't you? Like, it was literally, I think you were in the race after it or the race before it or something like that. What was that like that day at Blaney in the snow?
I think I was the only one standing out in the snow. I love the snow. I know I'm from Queensland, but I do love the cold weather. That's why Bathurst suits me so well. But it was amazing to see the snow. It was cold. Like Amanda said, it was the coldest she's ever been. I've never seen them race in it.
So you're probably the only driver on track who was envious of those that were out there.
Well, you're doing snow angels in the snow.
You could have.
Really?
I was definitely the only happy person there.
Yes, I do just want to ask you, Freddie touched on your favourite horse there in Old Luke. Does I Am the Captain join him and hold a special place in your heart now following that win on Wednesday night?
Oh, he definitely does. You know, Luke's been such a good horse to me all around. But it was just something special the other night. You know, I said Amanda does all the work with him at home and drives him all the time. But yeah, I will forever hold a special part. We call him Skip at home, and he's been good to everyone. He's been such a good horse to Amanda. You know, he's qualified for every Group 1 that she set him for, and he's just been a really good horse.
Hey, is he just before we let you go? You're starting to build up a pretty good career record going on now. You've recently gone past 300 career wins. You must be pretty happy with how things are going.
Yeah, you know, I actually sort of don't mind sitting back and watching everyone else drive at the races. But I always sort of happen to get the good drives, and Amanda sort of keeps me on ones that like I click with that she thinks, and it's just nice to drive every now and then. I don't sort of like driving too often. It makes me a bit cranky, but yeah, it's good to drive. It's good to drive nice horses like that.
Yeah. All right. Hey, well, good luck with your mini campaign back there in Queensland, and we'll see you here on Saturday night. As I said, you've got a legitimate live chance in that big state final. Wish you the best of luck with it, Izzy.
Thank you.
All right. Isobel Ross, great to have her on the show, wasn't it? And a legit chance, Freddie. I mean, you've seen each of these contenders straight up. I Am the Captain. Good hope.
Yeah, look, Gordon's Bay was very impressive, I thought, here on Saturday. And I chatted to James Rattray on Sunday on Sydney radio. He's had his fair share of problems, this horse, but when he puts it together, he's very good. And one of his greatest assets is he's got very, very good gate speed. But then what his next best asset is, he relaxes under James very quickly. So I think it's going to be a very interesting charge into that first turn at the 2,000 metre mark when you expect to see Blake Jones' horse, contesting, and then you've got James up on the outside with his horse, and it could just play into the hands of a horse like I'm the Captain, who, driven a little bit cold with the right set, is going to be a finish-on horse, and will love the big stretch here. It's going to be a terrific race.
Okay. We saw Man from Bravos as well. He ran second in that Hunter final, and he made a mid-race move to go and sit in the chair without cover. He could be another one, drawn 3
Very
on Saturday that comes out.
Yeah, very tough horse too. It's the barrier draw has really thrown it up, I think, because you've got a lot of the real good horses are drawn front, and we saw that the other day. A few horses that were drawn on the back row, they were able to get into the race and finish placings, but it was really a case of those front row horses, particularly. You expect here on this track, they're going to be in the right place. So what happens into that first turn is going to be really intriguing. I just have a fancy that perhaps you'll see James cross. I think his horse has got the necessary speed to cross, and that'll then give Blake and London Bridge the chance to, stalk.
It was a big night there at Bathurst, as we've said, Freddie, you were calling. One thing to mention, the Western Jewel slot competition that Wayne and Julie Loader have been running. Great concept. The draw. So these draws where people have been able to buy a race book and get an entry form and put them in at race meets over the past few months, particularly in the Western region on tracks. If you're on course, you do it. So they gave away the 2% slot. So really well done to Wayne and Julie Loader. They're yet to decide who the horse is. It's going to take that slot in the Eureka in September. But well done to Owen and Anne Murray. So they've picked up a 2% share in, and they're from Manildra, so they've picked up a 2% share in whichever horse they decide to go into the Tab Eureka.
Talking to Wayne and Julie at Bathurst on Wednesday, they've got their horse that they ideally want to see. It had a little bit of a setback, and I don't think it's any secret that horse was Rip. That's their main. But Wayne said, we not only have a plan B, but we've also got a plan C, D and E, because you need to have that with these sort of races. So they've got other horses that they're keeping an eye on from within their team, but obviously they'd love to see Rip, and Rip's proven at this track. So
absolutely. Well, as we said,
they're good supporters, aren't they? They do
absolutely. So we've talked about Bathurst, guys. Let's get into the other one. So the Riverina final, as we said, was and Izzy's already earmarked the performance of Brooklyn Bridge in the Riverina final there at Wagga for Blake Jones and Ellen Bartley. It was sensational. I love seeing the animated elation from Blake when he won the race. He gave it a nice salute there as he realised that the race was his for the keeping. This horse has done everything right through this campaign. So won the heat by 9 metres, won the final by 13 metres. That's now 7 wins from 10 starts. Can't do much more, to have a track record like that going into a state final.
A very impressive type, and I'm so excited to see him keep progressing. He looks like a horse with so much potential.
So much upward scope, isn't there,
right.
Jess?
And I can't wait to see him come here to Menangle on Saturday night.
I agree. I think this is a sort of track, it'll suit his style of racing. Blake knows the track inside out. He's driven some, plenty of winners at this track, has Blake. And he is clearly the testing material. I really like the horse, and what he did the other day, I really like. He's building a beautiful record, but as you say, the best thing, he's got that upward scope.
What do we think that, does Menangle make Brooklyn Bridge an even better prospect?
I think he's a sort of horse. He does seem to relax okay, and you need to at this track. And I think it'll be a track that'll. I just think these bigger tracks that we seem to race at now, so many of the horses, the speed they're going is best suited on these bigger tracks, and Brooklyn Bridge will fall into that, I think, Jess.
That's exactly right, and I think coming from Wagga as well, it's a bit bigger track, not as big as Menangle, of course, but still shows exactly the same as what he'll bring here.
And you love your hashtag Riverina form, so I'm sure you're going to be tipping Brooklyn Bridge.
Well, that was part of a treble on that race card for Blake Jones. Jackson Painting got a double there as well. Look, Jackson won the consolation final with him and Matthew Painting. So that was with Trouville. So good night for some usual suspects there. It was an afternoon twilight kind of race meeting with the getting a bit darker earlier these days than we'd become accustomed to over the summer months. So, great day again, once again. Well done to the Riverina Club. And, new CEO there, Bob Hayes. Well done to the club for putting on another great race day with the regional championships concept. The Hunter final was in Newcastle on Friday night. This was the closest of all the finals. This was an epic stoush. Metallica Man for Tommy Ison ended up getting the win. Edged out Luke McCarthy on Man from Bravos and Sean Grayling on Jasper Stiles. It was a cliffhanger finish. So it's what we want in these big races, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a really exciting finish, and the pace seemed to be on the whole way from when Luke pulled out and went around to the chair, as I alluded on earlier. But all credit to the winner there, Metallica Man. He led and was just too strong, and no doubt one of the most memorable moments for Tommy Ison in the gig and as a trainer as well.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He gets plenty of credit for his driving, but that's a big moment for the young fella. Training a winner of a $100,000 race and tipped out arguably the best in the business in Luke McCarthy in a close finish. The second horse trained by Mel Elder and Jasper Stiles third. The speed, as you said, particularly that last half really went on, a 28.6 and a 29.2. So it's at 57.8 last half around Newcastle, but it was hammer and tong stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does Tommy Ison get out of, you just talked about, it was Luke McCarthy coming to get him. That must be intimidating in itself. For a young bloke like Tommy Ison, he's got a lot of confidence around that Hunter region. What does he take out of that? Being able to knock over the king.
Yeah. I think he would have been pretty excited. And I did actually see a photo of them returning back into scale, and Tommy was in his gig, Luke was in his gig, and they were both smiling. Yeah. So no doubt a proud moment for him.
Yeah, it was really good. Tommy had a good night. He had a double. So did Joshy Gallagher there at Newcastle. Brad and Darren Elder had a pretty good night as well. They won the consolation final with Roctagonal. And then, of course, we talk about Brad Elder and Tom Ison doing so well at the Tamworth track so often. So they raced it on Wednesday as well there. Brad had a double. Blake Hughes had a pretty fat day, treble there at Tamworth. So, it's great to see these young, up-and-coming, sort of young guns of our sport, getting out and doing their thing, Jess.
Yeah, they do a great job, and they're names that we tend to mention week in, week out, especially in that Hunter region. Tom Ison, Blake Jones, Gemma Coney, Grace Pinella, the list just goes on, and we're very lucky to have them in our sport.
We mention them for good reason.
Yeah.
They are worthy of being mentioned because of their feats.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's such a different world now to where we were maybe 25 years ago and 30 years ago, where it tended to be the older mainstays, driving doubles and trebles. These youngsters coming through, and I say it all the time, and I know probably people get sick of me saying it, but we are just so blessed with the talent we've got in the junior ranks, the young ranks in this state. It's quite incredible.
So that's three of the finals that we've talked about. The fourth of them was here, the Metropolitan final here at Menangle, and we've already mentioned the winner, Gordon's Bay for James Rattray. Super impressive, Fred.
Yeah, look, like I said, he's got that gate speed, which is a big asset. He drew the deepest of the front line. He was able to zip across and lead. Patsy Valentine took the sit. And Ed Mendez was the other horse that finished in the placings. It came from a mile off them up on the pegs. Ellen saved so much ground to get into that third spot. But Gordon's Bay, as I said, he's got that gate speed, but then he's got the capacity to relax in his races, and he was able to click it up. They've come home in 55 on the back of it was a very good drive. James Rattray got away with a 62-2 first half of the last mile, and I might also point out the lead time in that final was 50.3. They went about 1.4, nearly 1.5 seconds quicker in the consolation for the lead time. So there was no speed early. James walked them, and they were able, and the horse relaxed and came back to him, and then he was able to come home in 55. It amplifies the runs of the runners up when they're going that quick at the back quarter. Patsy Valentine came off the back of the leader and ran it to a neck. Patsy Valentine went super, and as I said, Ed Mendez certainly lost no admirers. And Soho Rhapsody parked in heaven. They all ran good races, 4th and 5th, but it's a nice horse, Gordon's Bay.
Ellen's a good mate of yours. Did you ever chat to her? Yeah. She would have been thrilled with that.
Yeah, I had a chat to her dad, Pete, after the race, and I know he was really ecstatic with the performance of Ed. And he qualifies for the state final this Saturday night, and the horse is owned by Cindy, Ellen's mum, Peter's wife, so very exciting for all of the Rickson family.
Yeah, absolutely. No, she'd be delighted. Obviously, she's come back to race here after a short stint. It's great to have her back. We love celebrating the Rickson family. They're a beautiful family and they all do great things. We'll get Ellen on the show at some point. I already told her that 2 weeks ago. I said, well, she's the last of the siblings we've got to get on. But yeah, I was thrilled for her when I saw that result. Like we had Jalaniel won the consolation final for Blake Fitzpatrick as well. So that, I guess, frames up then our state final. And what a great field we've ended up with, Fred.
Yeah, look, it is a terrific field. I think the barrier draw, as I said, the barrier draw sort of changed the complexity of the race in terms of trying to sort out speed maps and the like. I do think the horse I mentioned, Gordon's Bay, has good speed. You've also got Brooklyn Bridge, Metallica Man. You expect to be pushing through Man from Bravos. It's going to be a great charge. And then on the back row, you've got horses like Elder Billy, Patsy Valentine and Ed Mendez who'll drift back and they'll get home. So if they go crackers up front, you never know. It could be one of those swoopers. But I really think, and we touched on I'm the captain, of course, who'll also more than likely get a decent run from where it's drawn. Modern Power ran fourth in the final at Bathurst. It's done a good job for Nathan, and again it gets a run because He Ain't Fakin' has come out of the race already. So very intriguing race, but geez, Brooklyn Bridge and Gordon's Bay, they're going to be the two toughest.
You know what I found intriguing about the state final? So we've had two of them, is neither of them have won their regional final. So they've both been in the minor placings as a qualifier, have come to Menangle and won. They've drawn well and what we've seen is winners draw well. The one that I think, given how close he got, is Man from Bravos. There, drawing three, Luke McCarthy in the chair, almost won that. That looks like a horse that's tracking and trending in the right direction.
I know one thing, it's going to be a cracking finish. You can just see the writing on the wall, a bit of tempo early, and then some of those horses that are very strong sit sprinters are going to get the right runs. It's going to be one of those, I've just got a feeling, one of those big blanket finishes.
Oh my God, the beast that is Menangle as well, which we've talked about a lot on this show. How do these regional, it might suit some that have never seen this track before.
Some get to the top of the straight and faint.
When they see how big the straight is.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fascinating race. But as I said, and I point out, we're yet to see a regional final winner come and win the state final. So I wouldn't be putting a red pen through any
of the placings.
Just because
it didn't win. Yeah.
This could be the year the stats broken.
Yep.
Who knows?
So we saw a Metro horse win the first edition of the state final with Send It.
Yeah.
And we saw Defiant last year with Trevor White and Peter McRae come out of the Riverina. So Hunter and Western region, this is your time. Let's share the love a little bit. So yeah, shapes up as a cracking night anyway. And hey, we've got Sky Racing active coverage. I'll be somewhere around here. Brittany Graham will be involved. I think BK's involved as well. So you'll get full Sky Racing coverage of that race program on Saturday night as well. So, Freddie, I mentioned it at the start. Mate, congratulations on another win for Heaven on High. You must be really thrilled.
Yeah, it was a big moment. We were all pretty thrilled by the performance. We decided he had a little bit of a setback and got a bit of a cold and had a few weeks off. He last raced at Penrith in the Renshaw Cup. That was the only time he's missed the top three placings since we've got him from New Zealand. And he was only beaten 8 metres, running 7th after being 3 wide and death seating early. We were pretty happy with the run. We don't think he really possibly handled the tighter turning track at Penrith. And then he got I think the next week he drew barrier 1, but he was scratched, a bit of a setback for the stable. So we ended up, Thorny put him out, brought him back last week, decided to drive him cold. We haven't seen him out the back the way he was. He was second last near the turn, and he got, 8, 9 wide on that final turn and just let down. And it was a big moment for BPM Bloodstock because they were able to Quinella the race. They also had Rocket Boy. I thought his run was sensational. Yep. He was only beaten about 1.5 metres, 2 metres from by our bloke, and it was a BPM Bloodstock Quinella. But Rocket Boy, big run. But no, we're thrilled. I think that's his 4th Menangle win. He's 3rd at Metro level. He's run, I think, 4 or 5 placings as well here. So, I don't know. I'm not sure where he'll pop up soon, but I know the Goulburn Cup's coming up soon.
Wow.
So
Hint, hint,
you never
naughty,
know.
if you're listening.
Well, I'll tell you what, well done.
Thanks, mate.
I know what it means to you, and we love to see the joy in your face, you know, when Heaven on High does well, don't we, Jess?
We love
That was part of an early double. Actually, you know what? The only disappointment for me in it all, Jess, I was overseas and I didn't get the text message from Freddie like we normally do.
I was waiting for the text, but I got in first.
I tried to be.
messaged him.
Yeah, I
It's
tried.
becoming a bit passé. So
Oh,
like,
not at all.
winning thing,
No.
We
not at
also
all.
can't forget to mention, I know we had the week off last week, but Thursday, a fortnight ago, Freddie Hastings, 8 out of 8 on the Penrith card. Wonderful tipping effort. Well done. I think it was only the 4th time in your career.
Yeah. Well, only the 4th time. There are, with all due respect, there are some that have never tipped the card. It's not easy to do, and some people say, there were 3 odds-on favourites or 4. They've still got to win.
Yeah,
Exactly right.
They've still got to win. If it was that easy, none of us would be standing here working for our crust. We'd be out punting and backing winners. It's not that easy. Yeah, they might have been favourites, and sometimes weight of money. Sometimes someone says, they're sitting in the pub and they're having a few skewies and they say, what's the race caller picked? Well, they go and have 20 on that. And just that kind of punting can see a horse that you thought might have been a fair price come in, and it looks like you're just tipping favourites. Sometimes they shorten after the event.
There's no
Still
doubt
gotta
you
win.
guys with your tips influence the market.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely, no
I
doubt.
think there's a bit of influence, but I've been lucky enough to do it 4 times. It doesn't the first time you do it, you're on a high, and I actually did it on my 50th birthday here.
Nice.
It was Heats of the Oaks. It was Heats of the Oaks. It was a big night. Might have been Derby and the Oaks Heats back then. And I remember I needed a Purdon horse to win the last race to give me 9 out of 9. And it was $1, went around at $1.30. And at the top of the straight, it was being rained up. And I thought only I could stop a $1.30 favourite. But it got the chockies. And I've done it at Bankstown and now twice at Penrith. So
Well done,
it's a big thrill. Thanks,
well done.
guys.
It's a
Well
good
done.
performance.
Thank
I
you.
know we see Freddie do his tips here before we do the show, Jess. I know he put some time and effort into it, so he takes it seriously, people. So tipping the card is a good performance. So as I said, that was part of an early double for Jack Trainer. The speed was on 151.8. There were 3 horses that all did a 151.8. The last of them, I had to mention this, Freddie, because it's one of your favourite lines. Probably put the kettle on.
Biggest boil over.
I was going to say, you made a mention of a boilover, didn't you?
There's a boil over.
So really impressive in the last for Sophia Arvidsson. She's doing good things.
Yeah, Sophia's going great at the moment. She does a fantastic job with her square gators. Outer Baron Test springs to mind. And then also Polly put kettle on. It was her first start for Sophia and she went enormous, I thought. And also Sophia's 100th career driving victory.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done. Josh Gallier, he had a double at Menangle last Tuesday, we should mention. Newcastle and Canberra were on yesterday and there were some good results that we generated out of that. Cameron Hart, treble at Penrith. It would be unusual if we didn't mention a big performance for Cameron Hart. And well done, Olivia Frisbee. She's a young up-and-coming driver that we haven't mentioned a great deal on the show, but she was probably the performer of the week in the gig. Well done.
Just getting confident. So much more confident now.
So a treble at Dubbo on Friday. That included the Little Jug Series final with Charlie's Ace for Troy Williams. Now, Troy I see him out here every Tuesday after we do the show, and he's slowly getting more and more drives. He's getting back into the gig and he's getting amongst it. He I think he had the runner up in that race, and I noticed he's down to take a few drives this week as well. So good stuff. That was a training cornella for Troy, and we've mentioned before, no need to go into it a great deal, but he did it so tough through the floods last year. So I love seeing him.
Should get him on the show.
Have a bit of success. Hey, the New South Wales Bred Series is underway now. Should mention this is not aligned to the Breeders' Challenge Series. It's a different series again. But so the last while we haven't been on air, we've had actually heats across a range of tracks. So we had Leeton, Penrith Parks, and Newcastle in the week of the 8th of May. Then we had Tamworth, Penrith, Wagga, and Dubbo the week of the 15th of May. The 2 and the 3-year-olds, we've seen some really nice types go around. I think horses that we're going to see probably through that Breeders' Challenge Series when we get to that in late September, October. A final here on the 3rd of June. That's going to be really good fun to see how they see the future of the pacing fraternity here in New South Wales go around, Jess.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see heats run across all the regions here in New South Wales. And then, as you mentioned, a $30,000 final here at Club Menangle. But I think it's definitely an entree of what's to come for later months when we see the True Blue Series. And then we also see the main Breeders' Challenge Series as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not unusual to see a real star emerge out of, in the lead up to the Breeders' Challenge. This is a way of, I think, seeing them before we get to the Breeders' Challenge as well. So this is exciting. This is a really good one to keep an eye out for. Best thing you saw this week, I breezed past this before when we were talking about Bathurst, but Jess, I know that you were really keen on the consolation final.
Yeah, I thought Terry Rama, the storyline around him was the best thing that I saw this week. Of course, we saw him come out and win the inaugural edition of the regional championships at Bathurst back in 2020, and then looking forward to 2023, last Wednesday night, he won the consolation of the Western region. So
he was 100 to 1, wasn't he, when he won it?
$81 he paid on the
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Real rough.
20th of May 2020. So that's how far this concept's come. And great to see Terry, that almost go full circle, to see him back, performing on a big night there at Bathurst. Yeah. What about you, Freddie?
Well, I'm going to stick with Bathurst. There you go. I thought the win of the drive of Isobel Ross with I Am the Captain, she was absolutely elated. Smile like a Cheshire cat. She was just beaming after the race. And I went down, I had to go down to the stables, and the first person I almost crashed into was Izzy, and the smile just said it all. And that's what it's all about, a young lady plying her trade, winning a big race like that, and resultant of that is she comes to town to drive in a big feature. I just thought that was the best thing I saw. But the drive itself, Bathurst have a little award that the race caller, whoever it is, whether it's BK, Craig Easy, yours truly, whoever's calling, they award a drive of the night, and I just couldn't go past that drive. I thought she was very good.
Yep. All right, self-indulge for a bit. Seeing one of your best mates that you're known for over 30 years get married at the age of 49 in a beautiful vineyard in the Californian Valley was pretty good for
Wow.
me.
That's hard to I was going to say, how do we compete with that, Jess?
It was pretty good. So well done, Jono.
Did you sample the wine?
He's never watched our show, and I don't think he ever will, but well done, Jono.
What was the wine like in the vineyard?
Not bad, Fred.
Yeah.
You don't get an idea on the first or the second, third glass. You kind of got a
glass bottle.
Well, you got to have a couple more just to be sure. I can tell you it was good. So
cool.
Very good.
Worst thing I saw this week was the performance of my fantasy harness racing team. I didn't touch it for a week. I just couldn't be sure what was going on, and I paid the price. I'm a greasy pole slider down the leaderboard for the commissioner. But I know you've had a good week, Fred.
Yeah, I've climbed from 84, I think I was, to 65 or 66. So I'm in the 60s. So my goal was to get top 50. I'm never going to catch the boys up front. They're too clever for me. But if I can get into the top 50, I'd be happy with that. What about you, Jess?
Keep trying. Captain Luke McCarthy, he keeps carrying my team week in, week out. I think I mention it every week. But I'm also sliding down a
slippery
pole.
slope.
Yeah, going nowhere.
Yep. Well, look, we're getting to the pointy end, and I'll tell you what, that leaderboard's jamming up. Matt Lepard was our leader, and then he kind of slipped back a bit. He's had a really good week, so now it's game on again at the top. Will Norman, Matt Lepard, there's a bloke Ryan Spice is doing really well. So, tell you what, the chase for the car is on in earnest. 1st of July is the last night. It is on. I'm really excited. I think you can feel the buzz, like in the tension among those leaders now, because they can't see each other's teams and the moves that they're making. And as we've said, like now once we get through this week, it's a triple point score race on the state final.
Yep.
Then we kind of, as we know, our drivers can be a little bit itinerant through June.
Yeah, off to Queensland. Some go to Queensland.
I think strategically it's going to be a really, really interesting week. And then it goes really blockbuster on July 1 on Trots New South Wales night with those big bonus points up for grabs. I think the chase for the car is going to be intriguing from here on. So about, what are we up to? Around 20, I think. Again, I'm sorry. I've been. I
think it's around. Is it 19?
About 6 weeks to go.
19, 20. So, there's not long to go now.
Yeah. So anyway, it should be good. Freddie, so the great Flora Robson reached out to you. We've got the Harness Breeders New South Wales. They've got a great concept coming up.
Yeah, it's the Harness Breeders New South Wales Ladyship Bonanza. It's going to be run at Penrith on Thursday, the 1st of June, and the breeder of the winning mare will receive compliments of the Harness Breeders New South Wales a bonus of $1,000 cash plus a $1,000 Breeders bonus certificate and a rug. The breeder of the winning mare obviously must be a financial member of Harness Breeders New South Wales, but it doesn't stop there. Should it fail to be won on that 1st of June meeting, the cash and breeders certificate will jackpot to $1,500 for a race to be run the following Thursday night, the 8th of June. And should that one not go off, it'll go up another $500 for the meeting on the last Thursday in June. So 1st of June, remember that. It's the Harness Breeders. They do some great things behind the scenes. You've got to be a financial member. It's never too late. So, Flora and the team there do a great job. 1st of June, they've got that Harness New South Wales Ladyship Bonanza with the cash and bonus breeder certificate. Jess, have you got something that can go there? And have you got a mare racing at the moment?
Unfortunately not. I don't have any mares in the stable.
You've got to fix that.
Yes, have to fix that. Have to have a crack at breeding one day. It's on the to-do list, but yes.
Okay.
But a great incentive from Harness
just love
Breeding
Freddie's
New South
upsell
Wales.
there. But wait, there's
There's
more.
more.
Wait, it was a jackpot. Like
Tim Shaw, the dental man.
Have we got steak knives we can throw in, Flora? If we can do that, I reckon you'll be balloting horses left, right and
Fantastic.
centre.
Well, that's a big week. So that's June the 1st at Penrith. June 3, we got pacing for Pink with the high tea, Jess.
Yeah, that's right. So the high tea's on May 30th, so next Tuesday.
Yep.
We're currently sitting at $9,000 after 6 meetings, so there's still 3 meetings to go. Sophia's win in the last race on Saturday was actually very impressive. It was a $600 donation because she had her pink pants on when driving. She's a female trainer.
Yep.
And also the horse carried the hot
Saddlecloth
pink
8.
saddlecloth.
Yeah.
But also at the high tea, we have some really exciting speakers. So all harness racing fans, we have Cassie Fahey as our MC. Brittany Graham will also be our guest speaker talking about her career in the sport. And Freddie Hastings, you'll be there offering some tips. So hopefully tipping the cards on the agenda again.
Yeah. Oh, we'll try. We'll be trying. As I say, when I get asked to go to a committee room or a function, these tips are provided all care, no responsibility.
Yep. So that's next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, yeah.
Should be a fantastic afternoon out here. So, and the money's coming on. It's ticking over nicely, isn't it?
It's going really well,
$9 grand, wow.
Nine grand after 6 meetings, so there's still 3 to go. So let's hope we can keep pushing it even further.
Absolutely. Well done to everyone who's been performing on the track. But not just that, like lent their name and their support and their mindset to this event to bring attention to a really, really good cause.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's getting the word out there and raising awareness.
Absolutely. Okay, so 8 races this afternoon here at Tabcorp Park, Menangle. Should be decent racing this afternoon, guys.
Yeah, the last couple of races I thought were really good races. The 7th race in particular, very open. You've got no less than about 3 of the 10 last start winners, and then you've got horses that have been running placings as well, informed horses. Good race. And the last race, Noble Trick, the likes of Noble Trick, so much more. My Ultimate Chevron's in a great vein of form. It's a really good back end of the card. And, of course, as per the norm, we kick it off with a couple of Square Gators races early on.
Should be good. Waggers tonight, Bathurst Wednesday night. We go to Penrith on Thursday. As normal, West Wyalong's on Friday afternoon. We've got Newcastle and Parks on Friday night. Goulburn's on Sunday. Now, that's the rescheduled Carnival at Cups meeting when they had that weather pattern that went through. So, the sky's beautiful at the moment. Let's hope I haven't just jinxed that, but that's their rescheduled Carnival at Cups meeting on Sunday there at Goulburn. And then, of course, we're back here on Saturday night, an 8-race program, of course, highlighted by the Tab Regional Championship State Final, which we've talked a lot about in this show. I've got to mention the 6 on the card. That's the download the Tab app today pace. Wow, that looks like a significant field. I can't wait to see Bondi Lockdown. Better Zip It back from winning the Nullarbor over in Western Australia. Mahomes, first up since the Chariots of Fire. Should be a good race, Jess.
Yeah, it's really exciting to look at on paper, isn't it? Some of our biggest stars here in New South Wales at the moment, and I would be assuming that some of them would be getting ready ahead of a Queensland campaign.
I know McCarthy's are taking a big team up, their usual suspects. Quite an interesting thing happened on Saturday. We saw Expensive Ego go around at prohibitive odds on favourite, and that grand old man of the harness track, Alter Orlando, the 11-year-old, who's won over 1.1 million, honest as the day is long, stalked him, come off his back and was able to beat him. a boil over of sorts, not in terms of the price of the winner, but just I guess everyone expected Expensive Ego to beat the great Elder Orlando. But I know Ego and those other horses, Bondi Lockdown, Can't Find a Better Man, they'll all be heading north of the border soon.
How good. Yeah, great racing ahead of us. How's your Black Bookers going over the last couple of weeks while we haven't talked about it, Jess? Or have we not talked about it for good reason?
We haven't talked about it for good reason. Let's keep it that way.
What do you got for us this week?
I'm heading back to #Riverina form.
Yep.
Yes.
Goes around at Wagga tonight. Anne Dreamer for Ray and Jane Walker. It's 4th up after a year and a half off, and it's figured in the placings its last 2 starts without scoring, and I think tonight could be the night. So
What race?
Anne Dreamer.
What race?
Race 5, I think.
Race 5, yep.
Race 5,
Okay,
yep.
sweet. All right, yep, I can see that tonight in race 5.
You nailed Electra.
Yeah, I thought Electra's, she was working up to a win, and she was able to beat Fairy Tinkerbell again, coming from off her, behind her to wear her down and score. So that was a win. I just touched on it a little earlier in Heaven on High's win. Rocket Boy was even wider than our bloke, so about 9 wide, and was only beaten 1.5 metres or thereabouts. I think a win for Rocket Boy, and I think he's in on Saturday night. So he is. He's in the last race. So he's one to keep an eye on. Rocket Boy in the last.
Okay, good stuff. Hey, before we go, guys, we should mention we've got another slot has been filled for the Eureka. My Ultimate Ronnie is going to go around in the race for Soho Standardbred. So yeah, great to see Ronnie get a start in that big race.
Yeah, very exciting to see Ronnie gain a start. Tumby Park, they've got, you always know the red colours with the blue there, and also great for Jared Ouchin as well, a local trainer here at Menangle. And we've seen Ronnie just continue to go in those the rise of Ronnie.
Yeah, it's been very good.
Well, that was fascinating that Byron and Ronnie coming through at the same time. Byron was sort of the top seed
as a two, yeah.
But all the talk was Ronnie's the future.
And here he is now at 4. He's just flying. He's a good horse.
Yeah. All right, good show, guys.
Yeah.
Good to see you again. I've missed you. And
where was our postcard? We've been waiting for
a
souvenir.
No one got one. There was
an LA key ring or something.
There was
something.
A Lakers game.
Something.
Was there?
A Lakers hat. Anything.
Basketball.
Give him a credit card statement as a souvenir if you want. That's a
pass.
No, thank you.
To everyone tuning in, thanks for your time. And if you watched on the live stream, we appreciate your support as we bring you this show on our Facebook live stream. We do it every week here from Tabcorp Park Menangle. If not, you're listening to us on your favourite and chosen podcast platform. Feel free to leave us a review. But ultimately, if you can let everyone know about the Sprint Lane as a podcast, that would do us a big favour to keep the numbers up and more people get to hear about our great sport. Guys, have a great week. Can't wait to see the racing week unfold, but we'll definitely see each other on Saturday night.
Saturday it is.
Night here at Tabcorp Park Menangle. All right, everyone tuning in, thanks for your time. We'll catch you next week on the Sprint Lane. Bye-bye.